Awesome. All right. Hello, parents. I'm Erica Desper, the founder of Confident Parenting and this collective, and I'm on a mission to bring you all the information you need to know when you need to know it. And so I'm here today, joined by Keenan Mitchel. She's the owner of Autism Answers, and she has a master's in education and is a certified autism assessor. And she's going to be talking to us today a little bit about what to look for, when to look for it in terms of evaluating your kiddo for autism. Keenan, thank you for joining me.
Hi, thank you so much for having me.
No problem. I always love chatting with you. So we're going to try to keep these videos short and sweet. We know parents are short on time, so I have a couple targeted questions I want to fire at you today, and you can give me your answers.
Okay.
So when we're talking about something like autism, why is it important to intervene early or to get evaluated early on? And also, what do we mean by early?
Yeah, that's a great question. Early for autism would be in those crucial early childhood years, which would be between maybe 12 to 15 months at the beginning of that window, and definitely before 4. So what's happening is young children are about 15 to 18 months old, and they're beginning their social life. They're beginning pretend play. They're beginning all their vocab. They're beginning sort of sharing that joint attention, like, look, and then, looking back at you, and they're developing all of this. And because autism is a social aspect to our brain, they're not able to really fully develop in that area. So early action, get in there while these things are developing. And that's also, just the time when you'll see that trajectory start to diverge a little bit between the neurodivergent and the neurotypical. Who's doing what at around 18 months to 24 months.
I think parents will be surprised to hear that we can do this that early. Is that, I didn't give you this question in advance, but is that a newer thought or a newer thing? Because I had always heard, like, I don't know, 3, 5, or, just later. So is this relatively new that we can look for it this early?
The latest research is definitely not so much suggesting about being able to assess it early. They always could. It's why.
Okay.
And the reason why being pruning neurons, that's it right there. The plasticity of the brain from 2 years old to 4 years old is at its peak. And the national average for autism diagnosis is 4.5 years old. So you've just hopped over that window. So the push right now in the research and all of that is simply not that, we couldn't assess before. It just was just like, oh yeah, we sure could, but what would have been the point? And now it's like, oh my goodness, the point.
I'm really glad I asked that follow-up question, and that's an excellent answer. So in follow-up to that kind of begs the question, one of the most common things that parents are told, whether we're talking about autism or any kind of delay or difference or disability, is let's just wait and see.
Yeah.
Right? Like, yeah, maybe I see some things, but they're not that old. Let's just wait and see. So I guess what would you tell a parent who has been told to wait and see? You've kind of answered it. I just want to put that out there specifically.
Sure, of course. I hear it all the time. I've been in early intervention straight since, like, say, 2008, and even before that, since 1989. And it's a very common phrase to be told by the medical community. And I think it's so that the parent doesn't worry, so they don't take little things they've seen and blow it up. And it's just kind of like, raise your child, do the best you can. It's going to be what it's going to be, which is a sweet message, but it's not proactive, and it's not beneficial to that child. So early action, like we had just talked about, means getting the right strategies for an autistic thinker and an autistic processor getting the right strategies at 18 months old, not 4.5.
Right. Got it. Okay, excellent. So when you are assessing, what behaviors or traits are you looking for, slash what should parents be looking for?
Okay, so I think one of the things that is really unique about my approach, and I hope that it's really comes across on the Autism Answers website, is that there's a new perspective about autism, and it's wonderful and it's beautiful and it's accepting. And what I'm looking to do also in the world, in the community, is just to say, like, this is autism. This is not. So we all have this, this image of somebody who's not speaking, or somebody who spends time alone. And it's like, oh, well, those aren't necessarily, those aren't autism. So what I'm looking for in an 18-month-old, I would say, is the social gestures. So getting someone's attention. What I would see in someone who has been using their autistic brain really creatively to get their needs met is maybe taking mom's hand, or caregiver, somebody's hand, putting it on their sippy cup. That means, of course, fill up my juice. But there was not the look at mom's face. Don't even understand anything. It's just, I didn't, look at mom's face, look at the juice, like, come on, mom, or point, a lot of times our young autistic children haven't found the benefit of pointing. And pointing is hugely beneficial in our world. So
you're right.
So we really want to we want to look at that social aspect. And then the other thing is sensory. So in the brain that has developed so far, now we're only talking, 18 months here plus in utero, it's very sensory driven. So there will be what formerly was known as stimming, which everybody probably has seen or heard about. Now we don't so much call it that, but sometimes it's finger flicking. Sometimes it is a flapping. A lot of times there's visual ones. They tie to all of your sensory systems. So like the visual ones might be like eyes closing, looking through your eyelashes, which is very cute. But it's definitely a sign that the sensory system is either a little extra or not quite balanced. There might be some food aversion simply because of not wanting certain textures on their mouth. So putting those two things together, really, social and sensory. And that's really the two that make the pattern of autism.
Got it. Excellent. So I have one more question, because I do want to keep this short and sweet. I love your mission and I'm familiar with it, but parents may not be yet. So that's another thing I'd like to get across. What need did you see in the community that you're trying to fill through Autism Answers? Why would a family reach out?
It's the wait list. I've already described how important it is, to get this early diagnosis and take the early action, really. The wait list is, especially locally in our area, which is the Philadelphia County area, it's 18 months to 2 years, and that is current. I have children on my caseload at this moment that are just being told there's a 2-year wait list. So that's current. And it's been happening for so many years. And so a couple of years ago, I just said, I'm frustrated with this. I can't become a psychologist or a developmental pediatrician in a few months, that's for sure. But what if I looked outside that box of the medical place and I said, you know what? I got trained on how to assess toddlers using the ADOS-2, which is the gold standard in autism assessments. And come to someone who knows young children, get your answers in a wonderful, loving environment. And then I can also provide lots of follow-up if you'd like. And then in a couple of years, if you need the medical diagnosis for any insurance reasons or anything, you've been on that wait list for you've been on that wait list for several months. You'll be
Your
fine.
time will come.
Your ticket will be up at that point.
Right. So really your goal is to get families not only answers, but strategies and treatment. You're trying to utilize that important developmental periods that isn't wasted just waiting for the diagnosis and waiting to get off the wait list.
Yeah, I think the two things that are important on that one is, of course, the diagnosis. It informs the team that's already there. Most of the children who would probably come to Autism Answers are in early intervention. If they're not, that's totally fine. But a lot of times they have a speech therapist,
Right.
something like that. So it's to inform the team. The other aspect is, like, as moms, we know what it feels like to be in limbo, not knowing what's happening, and taking
Or how to help.
taking that piece away is really a gift for the family, so that they are all emotionally stable and really feeding into each other with lots of support.
Wonderful. Well, thank you. I love your mission.
Thank you.
I love why you do it. I'm so excited to make local families aware that there is this option to help them, at least in the meantime, with all the answers that they need.
Yeah.
So of course, families can find you on our site in the directory at Autism Answers. And I'm sure we'll have you back to share some more information soon. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
All right.